Before we get started, do me a favor and smash that like button. I'd appreciate it. Well, good morning, everybody. I got LT on the line here, and we decided to do a video to discuss the GWorld article where they talk about some things that that article was just released. So, good morning, LT. How you doing today?
Well, good morning, Teddy. I'm doing just fine. Beautiful day here at home today, so that's a plus. And yesterday we had some news drop, and I thought, well, this would be a good thing to do a video about and talk about the GVote. So here we are.
Yeah, I did. I went to the GVote website, and it's up, but it doesn't have anything that you can do right now. So I'm assuming that'll happen here in the next few days because the preliminary vote is coming up.
Right. So I thought, as we've done in the past, we have, an article that comes out, and we kind of do the overview of what this is and what it means. Everybody can go look this up for themselves. It's on the Medium.com website under the GWorld articles. It came out yesterday, and it sets up or breaks down how voting how they're going to set up what's going to be voted on and when the vote's going to take place. And it's turning over control of the liquidity pools to the liquidity pool participants. So quite interesting. Been looking for this to happen. So something that GWorld talked about very early on is he did not want to be in charge of everything dealing with the liquidity pool. He wanted to get it set up, get it running, and then turn it over to the community to govern. And so this is the first step of that. It's a positive step, and so I thought we'd go through this article and hopefully help everybody have a better understanding of what's going on in the GWorld and what this GVote is. So when you're ready, we can just kick it off.
Yeah, the first things to focus on is there's going to be two votes, and to vote you have to be a participant in the LP, and so this first vote that's coming up in a few days is a preliminary vote which will determine which agenda items will appear on the inaugural vote, or the first vote that they do, and that's going to be in December, I think, the latter part of December. So step one is basically just deciding, hey, these are the issues that we see, and asking the community to make a decision. Do you want this, on the inaugural vote, or do you just not want it on there? Do you not want to table it or whatever? So that's what that's going to be. So I guess now we can go over what I think is 6 issues that are going to be voted on. So I guess we'll briefly go over those 6 items.
Right. So this is called the preliminary proposal vote 1.x, an upcoming 0-day distribution update. So this article is not only about the vote, but about I think it's a little more controversial, is going to be the 0-day IL distribution update. So
right. And by the way, I think this is something that you and I can agree on, is we're going to tell you what the agenda items are. We're not really going to go into whether we think you should vote one way or the other on those items. That's not the purpose of this
Correct.
video.
Correct. Yeah, I think, people need to, to the best of their ability, determine, just like with any election or any vote we do, we should take a look at it individually, internalize how that's going to affect us in either yes or no, or if it goes this way or that, and then vote to what our preference is. So I'm going to try to keep my bias or agenda out of it, and as you just said, you're going to try to do the same. So I hope it doesn't come across that I'm for or against either or any of these. So just to get that out there first, that's good. So.
Okay.
So this is the inaugural GWorld governance proposal. So that's what they're starting with. This is what they're proposing. They define what a yes vote is. A yes vote indicating the desire to include the item in the inaugural governance proposal vote. A no or a no vote is indicating no desire to include the item in the inaugural governance proposal vote. So, like we said, there's 6 items that we'd be voting on. It says the preliminary proposal vote consists of topics that are all germane to the liquidity pool staking, and as such, the ability to exercise one's vote will require participation in the G-Note T-bill liquidity pool staking.
In other words, you need to have skin in the game.
Exactly. And as vote, and it's got to be in the G-Note T-bill LP. Of course, we know there's 2 LPs. There's the T-Fuel T-bill LP, and then there's the G-Note T-bill LP. And those able to vote are those that are in the G-Note T-bill LP.
Right, and you only need 1 G-Note, but the more you have, the heavier the weight of your vote.
Yeah, I'll read this right off here. It says, as vote weight will be measured in G-Note T-bill LP tokens. The more stake percent one has in the G-Note T-bill LP staking, the heavier the vote weight is. So just as you were saying, the more you have staked, the larger percentage you have, the more your weighted vote counts. So get your vote up.
Yeah. So
to get your weight up, you gotta have more G-Note.
Exactly. The guy that's got 2 G-Note in that LP, his vote's going to carry more weight than the guy who's only got 1.
Correct.
So
there you go. Exactly. The same criteria of G-Note T-bill LP tokens will be required for the subsequent inaugural governance vote proposal, as all topics that pass from the preliminary proposal vote phase to the inaugural governance vote proposal phase are germane to the LP staking. And note that some future GWorld governance votes that are not specifically about the LP staking topics can be voted on by those simply holding G-Note, as distinct from those with G-Note T-bill LP tokens. So there will be future votes if you hold G-Note but you're not in the pool. At that time, you're going to be able to vote just because you have G-Note. But right now, this vote that's coming up, or that they're talking about here, would be for those that hold the LP tokens, the G-Note T-bill LP tokens. So the first topic that would be that's on the proposal preliminary proposal vote is liquidity pool static APR percentage. Right now, currently the static APR percent is set to 50% for the LP staking, and that's both in the G-Note T-bill LP and the T-Fuel T-bill LP. So if you were to vote yes on the preliminary vote, then you're voting that you want to have this issue of the static LP, the static APR, to be changed from 50%. So a yes vote would say yes, you want it on the ballot, and you would like to consider on the next ballot whether it's to increase or decrease of the static APR. And that's for the G-Note T-bill and the T-Fuel T-bill staking pools.
Right, and that
A no vote.
that
Yeah, go ahead.
that, to be clear, is voting in the preliminary is only going to determine whether that question appears on the December ballot. It does not change it. It just says, do you want this to appear on the ballot so that we can vote on whether or not to change it?
Correct. A no vote in this preliminary would say, no, just leave it like it is. Don't even have it show up on the ballot. So in the preliminary vote that'll be coming up here in November, a yes vote says put it on the ballot, and then there'll be a decision made about whether we increase the static APR or decrease the static APR. A no vote says no, just leave it at 50%, the static at 50%. So if there is an affirmative, or it's decided that we're going to have it on the ballot of the governance proposal vote, the notional number to be put on it would be 1.1.1 will be assigned to that. So issue 1.1.1. So the second thing we would be looking at is whether the ability to earn T-bill NFT multipliers past the 1 year, that is 365-day mark. When they set this LP up, they set it up with a 1.5 NFT earned at 180 days, and then a 2x NFT earned at 365 days. Right now, as it stands, if we don't change anything, only the folks that are in the pool for the 180 days will get a 1.5 NFT, and those are in for 365 days will then get a 2x NFT, but that's the last you would get or have the possibility of getting. So for it to carry on, and that is staying in another 180 days, getting another 1.5, or staying in for another 365 days, getting a 2x, we'd have to have it on the ballot, and we'd have to then vote for it to continue. So right now, a yes vote would be, we will expand and include in the inaugural governance vote proposal the possibility of carrying this on. A no vote would be no more T-bill NFT multipliers be minted beyond the 2x earned for 365 days staking spent in the LP staking. So
let me address that. By the way, I looked at that, and just to be clear, okay, let's say that it goes on the ballot for December. It's only determining whether they're going to have additional multipliers be created beyond your 1 year point. But if somebody comes in brand new to the LP, they still will have a clock that'll give them an NFT at 180 days and then one at the 365. That's going to continue. This is just to determine, will we get another, in other words, will they get another 1.5 every 180 days? That's basically what this is asking, as my understanding is. Are we going to add
Yes,
more
that's the way I
than?
understand it as well.
Okay, good.
Is so like if somebody came into the LP today, brand new today, well, 180 days from now, they're going to get a 1.5 NFT, and then 365 days from now, they get a 2x NFT, where you and I already have our 1.5 NFT, and we're closing in on our 2x. Well, we're not going to get another NFT at this point. We're not minting another NFT at 180 days or another 2x at another 365 days. So we would have the NFTs that we have. Of course, that doesn't mean the same issue couldn't be brought up and put on the ballot next year. So it's something that can be looked at from year to year.
Exactly.
Okay. So a yes/no vote puts the issue on the ballot in December, and a no vote doesn't. We just
leaves things as they are.
Right, leaves them as they are. So issue number 3 is the removal of the 3x and 4x T-bill NFT multipliers from the ecosystem. And so a yes vote, a majority yes vote, would put the 3x, 4x NFT multiplier removal topic onto the ballot. And if that is the case, then there would also be the compensation for the removal to those who hold the 3x and 4x, that there would be compensation for that. And so that's the subsequent vote in December, if there's a yes vote and this goes on to the ballot.
And
there's a note here that is everybody should, they highlight it. They say, take this into account. Also note that if a yes vote is to remove the 3x and 4x multipliers was returned in the inaugural governance vote, that's the vote in December, it would be final. There would be no chance to revisit the topic in subsequent voting cycles. So if there's a vote to remove these 3x and 4x multipliers, then if that was to happen in December with an affirmative vote to remove those, then once they're removed, they're gone. No, there'd be no time in the future that they could vote to bring them back. They'd just be gone. If a majority no vote is returned in the preliminary proposal, and the 3x, 4x topic would not be included in the inaugural vote in December, and they will remain in the ecosystem at least till the next voting cycle comes around, and at that point it can be reevaluated. So right now in this preliminary proposal is to determine if we're going to put it on the ballot in December. A yes vote in December would be yes to remove, then they would be removed and gone forever. If the vote in December was no, we don't want to remove them, then they're going to stay in the ecosystem and they could then be voted on again. So that would be Governor's Proposal 1.3.1. So coming up in the preliminary vote.
Yes, and I do want to point something out on the issue of 3x and 4x, and that is that I'm starting to draw a blank here on what exactly the point was that I wanted to make. If you vote to make them go away, you don't have the opportunity to have any effect in the future regarding 3x and 4x. However, if you vote to have them, basically the question is remove them or not remove them. Well, if you vote
Right.
not to remove them, you are not giving up the ability to say in the next vote that happens, yeah, we think they need to be gone. So
Right.
leaving them in, it's not a done deal, because you'll have the opportunity to vote them away later if you determine for whatever reason they're not, shouldn't be there. So,
Right.
my only thought is, you know, you vote one way, it's permanent. You vote the other, you've got opportunities to change it in the future. That's basically what they're saying. So you need to think
Right.
about that before you
Right.
before you say, hey, they should be gone. You know.
And the other thing that is there, if they are voted away, that is to be disposed of, the people holding those, or the wallets, I should say, the wallets holding those 3x or 4x NFTs will be compensated for those NFTs.
Right.
So,
And by the way,
um,
I remember what I was going to say was, DGWorld had talked about, but he hasn't given us any details as yet, how the existence of the 3x and the 4x multiplier is going to benefit people who are not the owners of that multiplier, because it has, all I know is it has something to do with unused capacity will be
right.
shared with all of the other liquidity providers in the pool.
Yeah,
So
that's a whole nother
yeah, that's a whole other thing.
topic.
But yeah,
That's
he had alluded to that at one time, and he hasn't come out and said any more about it, which I wish he would. But
right.
that
I
is
know it's
out there.
very nebulous. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's a thought that DGWorld had in passing while speaking one time, and now then we're trying to figure out what did he mean. So
yeah.
anyway,
So we'll see if he comes out and
um,
says any more on that or not. But at any rate, so that's it for what is agenda?
issue number 3.
Right.
Yeah. Issue number 4, which there's 2 parts to this one. Issue number 4 would be IL 0-day distribution frequency. So a yes vote is returned. If a yes vote is returned, the IL distribution frequency will be expanded upon and included in the inaugural governance vote. So there you go. If it's a yes vote, then it's something that can be expanded upon in the inaugural vote in December governance vote, to say, well, we want to have more distributions, fewer distributions, whatever. It can be different than what it is now.
Right.
What it is now is something set up by the GWorld team, right? We had no input in that. So it's the possibility of having input to vote yes. To vote no is to say, just keep it the way it is, right?
Right.
So now here's the change that's made. Again, we had no input on this. It's just something was decided and put out to us, and these dates and periods have changed. So please note, the next 0-day IL distribution date or update is going to be to push the initial stated 120 days out to 180 days. So the new date for the next 0-day IL update is January the 16th of 2023. It's no longer going to take place on November the 18th of 2022. The next 0-day IL airdrop will be January 16th of 2023. So that's just a fact. That's a change the GWorld team has made, and we get no input on that. That's where it is.
Yeah. Here's the thing with the pushing back of that date, and that is they would not have done it if there wasn't a good reason for them to have done it, and therefore,
Well,
we
must be.
we have to go with it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It is what it
Right.
is.
Right. So I, as we stated starting this discussion, to this point, the whole liquidity pool and how it's set up and run has been set up and managed by the GWorld team. Starting with this inaugural vote and going forward, there's going to be the possibility that the liquidity pool providers themselves will have input to what happens with and how things are done with the liquidity pool. And so, again, I see this as a positive step, a step forward, good, bad, indifferent, whether you like what happened in the past. That's the past is the past. We are now going to start getting some voice in to what happens in the future. So I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah, and I will go on record that, did it irritate me they moved it back? Yeah, a little bit. But am I staying in the liquidity pool? You're damn right I am.
That's right. So just to be clear on this
Excuse my French.
Proposal, we all speak multiple languages from time to time.
Yeah.
This proposal is 1.4. The IL 0-day distribution frequency is what's going to be voted upon. A yes vote is to include it on the ballot in December to then change the frequency beyond or something different than what is already set up. A no vote is to return to leave it as it is. And as it is now is 180 days approximately in frequency that they would do the governance or IL airdrop. It'd be about 100 or 182 days actually. So right now we're set up for January the 16th of 2023 and July the 17th of 2023. And then the next one after that, if everything stays the same, would be January 15th of 2024. All of these being about 182 days from IL airdrop to the next. A no vote is to say we're just going to keep it just like that. We don't even want to discuss it. A yes vote is say, yeah, put it on the ballot, and then we're going to make a decision about, as a group, about what the next frequencies are going to be.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
So the next item is 1.5. It's extra IL high watermark percent. As just a brief history, as we can remember, initially they said, hey, as long as you keep 70% of your liquidity of your stake in there and don't pull out,
based on the high water mark, by the way,
that would be your high water mark, 70%. Then you could basically have up to 30% come out and go back in, come out and go back in, and you still get this extra IL. And then they changed it at the last 0 day. They changed it to 90%. And so again, it was the GWorld team making this change. They're turning this percentage amount over to the liquidity pool providers to make that decision. So the extra IL, high watermark percent, could be on the ballot for the extra IL. And so a no vote would be the high watermark stays at 90% where it is. A yes vote would put it onto the proposal, onto the ballot, and the high watermark percent topic for the current and extra IL eligibility would be expanded upon and included in the inaugural governance vote proposed. So to vote yes is say yes, let's put it on the ballot, and then there can be a change to the high water mark from the current 90% to whatever is decided upon.
Yes, and by the way,
Um,
it does
mhm.
say in the article that that they are going to be putting on that staking page where you will be able to see what your high water mark is at any given time, which I think is something
Right,
that is needed. And it said in there that it was imminent, so I'm watching for it.
right, right. So now then, the sixth issue, 1.6, is vote cycle frequency. Um, Currently, our vote cycle frequency is set to 1 year interval. So if there was a yes majority vote returned, then the vote cycle frequency would be expanded upon and included in the inaugural governance vote proposal. So we could have it more frequent, less frequent, whatever the governance um, LP providers decided. If a majority no vote is returned in the preliminary proposal vote, the cycle frequency will remain 1 year, and the topic would not be included in the governance vote, and the 1 year duration interval would remain in place at least till the next voting cycle came around, at which point it could be reevaluated by the community and voted upon. So,
Yes, and my
uh,
understanding is that every main vote will be preceded by a preliminary vote for the upcoming main vote, where any decisions,
well,
in other words, just like the one that's happening now, we're voting on different proposals as to whether or
right.
not they should appear on the main vote, which is he's referring to it as the inaugural vote only because this will be the first annual vote.
Right.
So
And and of course they're numbering these votes by 1.x, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 being the inaugural governance vote. The one for next year, that is in November of 2023, it'll be 2.x. So it's to be the second vote, the second time we have a governance vote. And so all the issues would be 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and so on. So it's set up really just like our elections that we have in the United States now, where we have a primary, and then after the primary, that's when everybody decides which way what they want on the ballot or not on the ballot, who's going to be the candidate for this party or that party. And then we have the election sometime later, where now then you're voting for those things or against those things, or for that person or the other person. So pretty much set up the same way. Just a little record keeping. So this preliminary proposal vote of 1.x is November the 14th through the 18th. So there's a 5-day period there where everybody will get to vote of this November. So that's just,
yeah,
see, today's the 3rd, so that's 11 days from now.
right. And by the way, it mentioned in there, which I thought was interesting, that it's either 4 or 5 day period in which you can cast your vote. Well, if you go in on day one of that 5 days and cast your vote one direction, and then you get to talking to a buddy and decide, no, I don't think I want to go that direction. I want to go the other direction. Well, during that 5 days, you can change your vote. And at the end of that 5 day
Okay.
period, whatever vote you put in, whatever vote was in, that's what's counted. But you can change your vote if you go in like in our elections. If we have these what do you call it, the early voting, where you can go down and you
Right.
can early vote. Man, if you go in there
Right.
6 months before the general election and you vote for this candidate, and then you find out that that candidate's a slug, oh well, you got what you got. You can't go back in and
You've already
say, hey,
voted.
dude, I don't like that
There you
guy
go.
anymore. Well, that's not the way it is
Right.
with this. With this, You can change your vote within that 5-day window, basically.
Okay. So this preliminary proposal vote, 1X, 1.x is going to be November 14th through the 28th. The preliminary proposal vote 2.x is going to be November 13th of 2023 through November 17th of 2023. So we've already got the dates established for our next preliminary proposal votes.
Right.
The inaugural governance vote, that is the vote that could change things, is going to be December the 12th through December 16th of 2022. Changes would go into effect December the 19th of 2022. So we'll preliminary vote in about 11 days for a 5-day period. And then the inaugural vote is going to be December the 12th through December the 16th of 2022. Changes go into effect December the 19th, 2022.
And where do we go to cast our ballot?
Voting would take place at GVote.
.io.
And as that GVote, it doesn't say .io here in the paper. It just says GVote. So
I've been to
I would assume
GVote.io, and there's something there. So
right.
I believe it to be GVote.io, although there's you can't do anything yet there, but that is the site, or it certainly appears to be the site.
Yeah, I just went to the GVote.io page. Like you say, it appears to be the site. The only thing on this page is a countdown clock, 11 days, 3 hours, and 20 minutes, which would correspond with what we
Right.
what we assume.
At some point, you'll be able to connect your wallet, because it's going to need to know
right.
what you've got, and
right.
so forth. But
I would say right now, for the GWorld people, at least put GWorld on the page somewhere. All it has is this countdown clock. It doesn't even say GWorld. It just says GVote. So on the URL bar. So
yeah.
Anyway. So there you go. Those are the 6 issues. I'll just real briefly touch back over each of those. Number 1, liquidity pool LP static APR percent. Number 2, the ability to earn T-bill NFT multipliers past your 180 days and then 365-day mark. Number 3, removal of the 3X and 4X T-bill NFT multipliers from the ecosystem. Number 4 is the IL 0-day distribution frequency. Number 5 is the extra IL high watermark percent. And number 6 is the vote cycle frequency. So those are our 6 issues being proposed and possibly put on our ballot for December in the inaugural GVote.
Yeah. I would say the he calls it the inaugural, but just think of it as that's the general election. That's when you get to decide
right.
the stuff that's going to happen going forward. So
there you go. So again, as we've talked about before, we know we're early adopters. In fact, you and I were among the first adopters into the liquidity pool almost as soon as it came out. We know we're early adopters. In being early adopters, not everything's set in stone, and some things can change. You can figure out some things worked well and some things didn't. Now that we're close to a year into this, we're seeing how things work, have a better understanding or idea of what I individually think it should be. Now I'm going to get to have a vote in that, and that's a good thing. So I'm always looking for the team to do what they said they're going to do, for that to be done in the time frame that is agreed, that's put forth so far. The time frames from GWorld is they're working on it very hard, and it'll be done soon.
Yeah.
So, but this is a step in the right direction, and this is positive in nature, in my opinion. And so, as an early adopter, I know things are going to change, but we are seeing continued development, and they're doing the things that they've put forth to be done. We are seeing proof they're being worked on, and this is one of them. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
There's been more than one occasion
There's a little more.
that I've gotten upset.
Yeah.
And I call up LT, and he talks me off the ledge.
Well, as whenever you fly off the handle and do things or say something before you really had a chance to work yourself through the possibilities, nothing ever comes out. Nothing good ever comes out of flying off the handle. So
yeah,
that's a part of my training is not to do things fast.
I've heard
slow.
I've heard more than one time from LT, Stephen, you're not listening.
Yeah, correct. So, we just you stand you're taking a lot of risk when you're an early adopter, because things might not work at all. But you're also have the greatest possibility of it being a big hit as an early adopter, rather than coming in after everybody else is already there.
That's right. Early adopters typically, not always, but typically are rewarded well for having been an early adopter.
Right. I mean, either things can go completely bust, or you can, have something that works out very well. That's your two possibilities. And so, this is a project that I saw a lot of potential in.
I still see a lot of potential.
So I'm still behind the GWorld team 100%. There's things I'd like to see them done different, or time frame be different. But hey, such is life in a lot of different areas. So I'm through trials and troubles, we earn our stripes, and so we're going to. I believe this is one of those things that's going to work out very well. And of course, you got started with your channel talking about theta, and this GWorld is a part of the theta ecosystem. If we see it grow, then that's going to help the theta ecosystem, but it's only a small part of the theta ecosystem, and by and large, the theta ecosystem is really where we need to be focusing. And everything I'm seeing over there, we're seeing new developments. They're meeting their goals. They set out a roadmap, and they're sticking to that roadmap. So the success of GWorld is dependent on the success of Theta and Theta Labs.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing success there, which means GWorld has a better possibility of having success as well. So I'm still very positive on GWorld and Theta Labs. So
yeah, and Theta Labs,
there you go.
I think they just did a release, or not a release, but a Twitter announcement that they are still on track for a mainnet 4.0 release on December 1st. So, that's a plus.
Yes.
And I've noticed that Theta
Yes.
seems to be inching upward because it was at like $1.25 this morning.
Well, and to say inching would be an understatement. Um, just a week ago, or a little, maybe 10 days ago, Theta was $1 or 99 cents.
Oh yeah, so 25%
And
increase
right.
recently.
That's more.
That's a significant.
That's more than inching.
Yeah,
That's
I guess you're right. That is more than inching, isn't it?
right. I mean, we don't think of it as much because it's 25 cents, but whenever you put it in percentages, that's a 25% increase in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's significant.
Yes, it is.
So
Especially,
and of course,
especially if you got one or two Theta.
Yeah, and as I've been maintaining all along that the Theta T fuel ratio, which has been and has remained about, well, anywhere from 15 to 1 to 25 to 1. It stayed right in that range. So the median of that's about 20 to 1. And every day on your update, you give us that ratio. And it's been very, very consistent of 20 to 1 for quite some time now. And I think that will remain. So as Theta goes up 25%, so does T-Fuel. And T-Fuel then drives the price of T-bill, which then drives the price of G-note. So as Theta goes up, T-Fuel goes up, T-bill goes up, and G-note goes up. So they're all tied to Theta and T-Fuel. So just keep that perspective, and I think that'll help you make better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're at the 47-minute mark, so I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover, unless you can think of something else.
No, that's what I want to do, is get the facts, get the information out there, and everybody can then decide what they want to do. Maybe between now and our vote, we cover these topics and talk about the pluses or minuses. But right now, I just wanted to throw it out there.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to go over this with me, and I'm sure the viewers will appreciate it as well. So,
well, if people want to see a further discussions about the pluses or minuses, throw it down there in the comment section. Say, hey, yeah, do that or don't. We can make up our own mind. That's okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to bore people. We have our own opinions, of course, but we'll keep them to ourselves unless you want to hear them. And then, hey,
yeah.
They're like noses. We all got one. So.
That's right. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. So, again, thank you very much for taking the time and so forth. And I guess you're going to be flying off somewhere soon enough. But for now, you're at home.
Yeah. Got a day or two.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.